Hey y'all, it's David Ducker coming back at you. And today I have a challenge, a GM challenge, a player challenge. I am challenging you in your next session, include mass combat, a battle, a skirmish. Get at least 50 characters fighting it out at the same time, all together, the same area. Mass combat is something that's often overlooked, but it provides a tremendous challenge when you're presented with a situation where you cannot save the day, where you have to rely on others, on NPCs, where you can finally show off some of your leadership ability, your political power, sway, and clout, and your tactical acumen and knowledge. When a character is invested all these points in tactical knowledge, in leadership ability, in getting his status ranks high, so he's a sergeant or a major or an admiral, don't jack that player. Reward them. Say, here's your chance to shine. There's so many types of characters that do very well in mass combat that are wasted when there is none. Mass combat is something that's often overlooked by GMs because they don't know how to do it, because their mechanics don't support it, and you Pathfinder players have fun with that, and because they feel that it might make their players less heroic, because it's not something they have control over the whole battle, unless they've invested in tactics, leadership, political power, in which case they can control the whole battle, or at least a large part and portion of it. So cinematically, I've done 2 videos already discussing how to do battles cinematically. It can be done. There's a ton of war movies to draw on. There's films like Troy, Lord of the Rings, of course, has mass combat battles, Kingdom of Heaven. There's looking back, I believe Spartacus had at least one mass battle scene, very fun. Ben-Hur has the trireme battle, where you have all these triremes colliding. Star Wars, the starfighter combat, those are battles. It's mass combat, just in a vehicle rather than on foot in person. So there's a tremendous wealth of things to draw from, and you can describe as a GM how the different forces and blocks are moving, who's at advantage, who's at disadvantage. Make sure you lay out your map ahead of time. Who's coming up on the hill to charge down? Who's got their backs against the cliff face so that they can't be flanked? Who's rushing across the plains to aid a different area? Who's coming in peril, under fire? Right? So just pay attention to that as a GM so there's enough detail. And once the detail is there, you just have to narrate the dice rolls, unless your rule set doesn't have rules for mass combat. In which case, I've done a homebrew rules video on how to inject mass combat into any rule set. So I won't waste your time going over that again right now because I want to keep the challenge video short. But the resources there to make it cinematic. The mechanics can be very easy, especially when you have the detail laid out for you. And the players can be powerful if they have political power, they have tactical acumen, if they have leadership ability. So you can be powerful leading units, setting the tactical strategy of the battle. And if you're not, this can still be a fun scene. A battle can be likened to a natural disaster, just as much fun as it will be to have a adventure based around a blizzard, a volcanic eruption, a tidal wave, an earthquake, and say, how do you deal with this thing you can't fight? With the effects, the after effects, the build up towards this thing. How does your character react, respond, emote, get this different aspect of their personality over? How do they deal with the undefeatable How do they deal with being helpless? What is that like for them? And that can really surprise you with great role-playing scenes. And a battle can be treated just like that. You might throw encounters at him to the degree that he would really encounter in that battle. And battles are especially good because if he gets killed or knocked unconscious, people are less likely to come around and coup de grace him after the fact. So he can lay on the ground for a while until the battle is actually over, and then wake up later. And you see that in The Hobbit, at least the book. I didn't watch the films because they look so hideous. You see that in Game of Thrones. I believe in the film or TV show rather, Tyrion is knocked unconscious at one of the big battles, and then he wakes up later, and they tell him what happened after the fact. But whatever it is, incorporate it. It's not often used, not often enough. It can be a really fun scene, really satisfying. Can have a different type of character over and on top. You might not be a great swordsman. You might be a great tactician or a great leader. So I'm challenging you, include a battle in your next one-shot, your next session, your next campaign. And in the comments below, let us all know how it went. Until I see you again now, good day and good gaming.